Hi, good evening, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well and welcome to tonight's SBL's webinar for June 2021 attempt, day number 2. My name is Hassan Tosani. So let's wait for 2 more minutes as people are trying to join in, and then we will kick off. All right, if you guys can see me clearly and see the screen clearly and hear me clearly, please can I have a yes in the question box? Very good, very good. So let's start. Let me forward the WhatsApp link to the admin. So admin can then share with you the new link to the WhatsApp group, because the previous link, it kind of got full yesterday. So admin, I'm sending you the new link of my WhatsApp group, and if you can share so that students can join in. Okay, it's called 13 SBL. So it's the 13th group of SBL. Right, so let's start. So today is day 2, and those of you who are joining today for the first time, a big welcome to all of you. I strongly recommend that you watch yesterday's webinar as soon as you can. So what's today's plan? Today's exam technique is very important. We will talk about the number of points, how much should be the length of your answer. Then we'll cover some topics On the professional skills, we will talk about communication skill and most important, analysis skills. And on the format, we will talk about press release and briefing note. No, I don't think we will be doing press release. I think it's briefing note and presentation slides. There is a typo error here. How to ask questions? Please, the only way you can ask question is you will need to type your questions in the question box. I will be stopping after a few slides and browsing through the questions, and I will try to answer most of them. But please keep in mind that your questions should be relating to the slide or topic under discussion. Any non-relevant question I will not be answering at that point in time because I don't want to break the tempo. Towards the end of tonight's webinar, I will keep 10 minutes for open-ended questions. There you can ask any sort of questions, but during the presentation, please restrict your questions to the topic under discussion. That's my WhatsApp group. So admin will send you the link to my WhatsApp group, or you can also directly WhatsApp me on this number and I will share the link with you. So today's exam technique is basically number of points and length of your answer. So if you recall yesterday's session, one of the grievances which the examiner has, he feels that students are not giving sufficient number of points according to the marks. So for example, if it's a 25 marks question, you are not supposed to write half a page or 1 page. You're supposed to write a slightly bigger answer because it carries 25 marks versus a question worth 8 marks. So you need to decide the length of your answer based on the marks. So what is the benchmark or the rule of thumb? So let's first talk about number of points. Very, very important. So in each and every question in your paper will carry 2 types of marks. There will be a technical mark followed by a professional marks. And if you add these 2, it becomes total marks. Okay. So whenever I say total marks, it means the technical marks plus the professional marks for that part. The rule which we will follow is that 1 point carries 2 marks. So a well drafted 1 point can get you maximum 2 marks. So 1 point is worth 2 marks. So how can we calculate the number of points? We just divide the total marks by 2. Very simple formula. Just pick up the total marks and then divide by 2. It will give you the number of points. The thing which you should note here is I'm saying that you need to divide by total marks, which is technical plus professional. Although most students or most teachers, they recommend that total technical marks divided by 2. I disagree with them. It's always better to give 1 extra point. So if you add these 2 together, total marks will always be higher, right, than technical marks. So there's no harm in giving 1 extra point. So total marks divide by 2. Okay. So if let's say the question carries 8 marks, 8 marks question, how many number of points? 8 total marks. How many number of points? You are very good. 4. Simple, right? Now, if the question carries 15 marks, 15 marks question, technical plus professional. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So 7 points or minimum 7, maximum 8. Very good. 7 to 9. Who's saying 9? Disu, why are you saying 9? 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So it's 7 or 8. Okay, please don't do silly mistakes. Now there is one small exception. One small exception to this rule. Sometimes the examiner, he asks you to identify the weakness and then give recommendation as well. So there are two things he's expecting. First, he wants you to identify a weakness, and then for that weakness you are supposed to also give a recommendation, right? You might have come across such questions. So because he's asking two things in this requirement, identify the weakness and give recommendations, I think then divide the 2 marks per point is less. So I would say this kind of question should be divided by 3. So 1 weakness plus 1 recommendation, the combo should be worth 3 marks. Okay. Similarly, this type of question can also be asked in risk management topic as well. For example, he might say, identify the main risks and give mitigation actions. So when you are supposed to identify the main risk and give the related recommendation, then I would take these two together and treat them as 3 marks each. Okay. So if the question is 15 marks, okay, and it says identify the weakness and give recommendation, how many weakness plus recommendation you will talk about? 5. Sadullah, very good. Behzad, very good. 5, yeah. I think divide by 3, yes. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. So you will give 5 weaknesses along with its 5 recommendations. 1, 2, 1. Good, good. There is one more thing which I want to discuss here. If it is a financial analysis question, okay, there is always one question in your paper which will be about some financial analysis or analyze the financial performance or some ratios, financial projections, anything to do with numbers. There will always be one question. So for a question which involves financial analysis, financial projection, any kind of numbers, I would suggest that you give 1 or 2 extra points in this particular question. So for example, let's say a financial analysis question is worth 10 marks. So ideally, the rule of thumb is 10 divided by 2. We need to give 5 points, right? But because this is a financial analysis question, I would encourage you to give not 5, but at least 6/7 points. 6 to 7, not more than 7. But try to give 1 or maximum 2 points extra because finance is your strength. You are a finance student. I want you to score some extra mark or 2 in this particular question by giving a couple of extra points. Okay. But if it's a non-finance related thing, then just follow divide by 2. Do I have any questions? Yes, Lopez, absolutely. Sir, if numbers is weak, then how to handle? If numbers is weak, then you should go back to F1 and F2 and F3. You don't deserve to be a CFO. But if your numbers are weak, then at least you have to give 5 points, right? For a 10 marks question. What is information is limited? Normally, for a finance related questions, the information is not limited. It is, yes, you might be true for non-finance portions, but I'm talking about finance. So for non-finance questions, if the information is limited, then nothing can be done, right? So at least you give the maximum number of points you can find from the exhibits. No, Ushna, you will not get such kind of things. Ria, no. So Ria feels that what if we feel that our point is not strong enough to get 2 marks? Even if I draft answer, I will never get 2 marks. Okay, 2 marks is almost next to impossible because the examiner is very strict. The total marks is 2. So now you are saying that, you know, if the SBL paper is 100, how can I get 100? It doesn't work like that. So the total marks is 2 per point. Try to obtain 1 point, 1 marks at least. Okay. Amir, please ask questions relevant to topic under discussion. Okay. Don't try to go, distract my attention. Length of your answer. So now the length of your answer is not really important for CBE students because you will be copy pasting most part of your answers from the case, and then you're adding one line, and there's a font size issue or the page issue, so it's difficult to decide the ideal number of lines for CBE students. So just make sure that it's not too bulky. Your point or your paragraph should not be half page. That's the examiner hates lengthy points. The examiner hates lengthy stories in one paragraph. No. So for CBE, the length of each point or length of each para is not a big deal. But for manual students, your 1 point should be maximum 5 to 6 lines. Okay. 5 to 6 lines for 1 point. So 1 point is worth 2 marks, and for that you need to write one para which should be 5 to 6 maximum. I'm not showing minimum. So ideally 3 to 4 lines can also be acceptable, maximum 5 to 6 lines. But do not count the formats, the headings and blank or empty lines. When I say 5 to 6 lines per point, these are the written lines. So if the question is worth 10 marks, how many maximum lines? 50 to, so for, if a question is worth 10 marks, how many lines? So first tell me, how many points for a 10 marks question? How many points for a 10 marks question? 5 points? And 5 to 6 lines per point is approximately 25 to 30 lines of written material. And then if you add the format, if any, like to, from, subject, date, if you add the headings, if you add some blank empty lines, add another 10 lines, so around 35 to 40 lines will be the total length of the answer, including everything. Okay, this gives you an idea. Let me see questions. Yes, very good. We calculate the total number of points required before or after referencing? Before. Let's move on. So you guys are okay with today's technique? Today's technique was pretty straightforward. Number one was number of points, extremely important. If you fall short of the required number of points, you will not be able to score. Okay, so be very careful. This should be part of your planning, that how many points I'm supposed to write, and try your best to reach that number of points. Okay, right. So today's topic is called SWOT analysis. I am pretty sure that most of you are aware of SWOT analysis. So strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats. So strength and weaknesses are basically used for internal thing, okay? And opportunities and threats are used for external things. And we discussed what is internal and what is external yesterday, remember? Any examples? So let me play with you guys a little bit. Okay, so tell me, highly motivated staff. What is it? Please write. No. I'm sorry, not internal. Write SWOT. Is it strength, weakness, opportunity, or threat? Sorry, my mistake. Highly motivated staff. What is it? Or wow, everybody is saying strength. You excellent. Good. Mm, complicated accounting software. Very nice. And outdated plant and machinery. Very nice. Oh, not threat. Somebody said threat. How is it a threat? It is your internal problem, right? You are using an outdated plant machinery. No threat. Okay. Um, growing demand for online business. Growing demand for online business. I'm not getting comments. Is my system hang? Yeah, now it's working. Hassan Hadi, don't complicate, but okay. Opportunity and increasing competition. Okay, very good. Now, tougher regulations expected. Tougher regulations. Very nice. Now, let me one more just to confuse you. You guys are not getting confused. High dependency on one supplier. Aha, I got you guys. Now I'm getting mixed answers. Someone is saying threat, someone is saying weakness. High dependency. The organization has high dependency on one supplier. Threat or weakness? Yeah, both of you are right. It can be a weakness, it can be a threat. It depends on the background. So if there are a lot of suppliers available in the market, but yet the organization is dependent on one supplier, then it is stupidity. That is a weakness because it's your own internal stupid decision. But in case there is only one supplier available in the entire market, it's a monopolistic situation, then you can't blame the internal organization, right? They don't have a choice. So then in that case, it would be a threat. Very nice, very nice. So you understand? I think you guys are very clear on your concept of SWOT. Well done, guys. So now my next question. You think all organizations needs to do a SWOT analysis regularly or periodically or annually? All organizations should analyze their strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. Yeah, right. So I quarterly, or it doesn't matter. Normally, in my experience, it's not done quarterly because your strength SWOT doesn't change that much that you need to do in a quarterly. But I would say regularly, periodically, or normally it is done at least once a year. Wow, it's required. Every organization, they do a SWOT. Even the guy who's selling French fries on a bicycle will be doing a SWOT analysis. What is his strength? What's his weakness? What are the opportunities and what are the threats? Okay. Why do we do SWOT? Why do we make a list of my strengths and list of my weakness and list of my threats and list of my opportunities? Why do we do SWOT? Shall I hug them? Now you're saying. So we all said that SWOT should be done. Why? So if the organization has some weakness, if they identify some weakness, what they will do? They will try to tackle it, remove it, address it. They will try to convert the weakness into strength, or they will try to remove it, right? That's the simple words. Fix it. Very good. If organization has some strength, what should I do? If I am a good looking boy, what should I do? Explore it, exploit it, yes, increase it, avail the opportunity. Yeah, so if I'm a good looking boy and I am studying in a nice college with all the beautiful girls, what does common sense says? I should use my strength, my good looks to find some nice girlfriends, opportunities. So strengths, why do we look at our strengths? So that we can grab opportunities, right? Why do we look at our weakness? So that we can remove them. We should try to remove our weakness so that we become more stronger. What do we do with threats? Threats. What do we do with threats? You know, we try to protect ourselves. So the purpose of doing SWOT is to take certain decisions, to make some strategies in order to optimize the business. We try to increase or rely more on strengths and opportunities which are positive points, and we try to minimize the weaknesses and the threats. We try to maximize strengths and opportunities. We try to marry them together, strength and opportunities, and we try to minimize weakness and threats and try to protect ourselves. Common sense? Yeah. So if you go down a bit, so here is something called TOES matrix, and this is exactly what we discuss right now. That why does an organization they do a SWOT? Because after SWOT, we apply the TOES matrix. In order for us to apply TOES matrix, we need to first do a SWOT analysis. Once we have done our SWOT, we have a list of strength, weakness, ops, and threats, then we can apply a TOES matrix. So what is a TOES matrix? If you see, this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. Okay, and on the x-axis you will see strength and weakness, or y-axis will have opportunities and threats. So can anybody define me this box? What does this box means? SO. What is SO? SO, yes, very impressive, guys. Strength and opportunity, very nice, very nice. So SO means, just read here, SO means use your strength to avail opportunity. So if I have a strength on one hand and there are some market opportunities, I should or any business should immediately make some strategies to grab those opportunities using the existing strengths which I have. Okay. WO, remove your weakness to avail opportunities. ST, use your strengths to avoid or protect against threats. And WT, remove your weakness and avoid threats. So these are the 4 theoretical quadrants of a TOES matrix. Okay. And we will right now do a question on SWOT and TOES, so don't you worry. So the last thing is, how do we know that it's a TOES matrix is required? You see, how do we know that the question requires us to apply TOES matrix? What are those keywords or hints? Number one, there's a possibility that a SWOT analysis may be given in your exhibits. So already a SWOT has been done and provided to you in your question. So if you come across SWOT, there is a very high chance that you might be asked to make some strategies using SWOT. So obviously, when we are supposed to make strategies using SWOT, we use a matrix called, or a technique called TOES. The other possibility could be you may be required to do a SWOT analysis first. Sometimes the SWOT will be given, sometimes the SWOT is not given, but maybe in part A, the question says, analyze the SWOT analysis or do a SWOT analysis. And part B says, recommend some options based on SWOT. So there you can apply the TOES technique. Whether before we start a question. Yes, Rishi, you're right. Very good. So now we will do a question from paper P3. Okay, and this is June 2014. Question number 1A. The reason I have selected P3 question is because so far in SBL, this topic of SWOT and TOES have not been tested. But I think it's high time that it may be tested, so I didn't want to take a chance. It's an easy topic, so let's do a basic question so that in case it comes in the exam, you guys are not caught off guard. So this is paper P3, June 2014. We will do question 1. Let's first read the requirements. Go down, 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 down. Aha. It says undertake a SWOT analysis of re-ink. 20 marks. Can anybody quickly tell me how many points for 20 marks? How many points for 20 marks? Very good, very good. 10 points. Maybe 10 to 12 because it's SWOT, it's smaller. Very nice. And then we will do this part. Recommend possible strategic options for each quadrant of a TOES matrix. Or I would like to amend it. And recommend possible strategic options Okay guys, is this okay? Recommend possible strategic options based on the above SWOT analysis. So now we know that we need to look for SWOT. So please read this portion and try to see whether you are able to identify any strength or weakness. Your time starts now. I will also be highlighting some important stuff. Okay, let's stop here. I give you 30 seconds if you want to read these two paragraphs. I want to discuss first before we move on. So what's the name of the company? The name of the company is basically Re-Ink. It is down there somewhere. Yeah, you see Re-Ink. And what does Re-Ink do? Just to give you a background, Re-Ink is basically they manufacture recycled printer cartridges. What's a recycled printer cartridges? A recycled printer cartridge is basically used cartridges recycled again. They are cheaper, they are more eco-friendly. Okay, so keeping that in mind, let me know, Eland is an industrial country with relatively high standard of living. Is that good or bad? I think that's an opportunity. It is a country with high standard of living. However, the economic performance of the country has declined for the last 7 years, and there are large areas of unemployment. This sounds bad. It's a threat because it's external. The government is also considering privatizing some of its departments to save money. I don't know whether it's favorable, good or bad, so I don't know, I'll put a question mark. The people of Eland are enthusiastic about principles of reuse and recycling. There has been a notable rise in the number of green consumers. Can anybody tell me this is good or bad for my industry, for my business? Yes, it's good. And what do I call it? Opportunity or strength? Yes, it's an opportunity. The people are so very nice. So this one is opportunity. And then it says the government is also encouraging its department as a whole to use recycle and reuse products. Is that good? The government is encouraging recycling. Opportunity. Very nice. So now let's read the printer consumables market. There are 3 paragraphs, so you need to read from here till here, and then we will discuss. Time starts now. I will also be shading some keywords so that you can think about on those. Okay, I'm done. You guys can take 1 more minute to read these 3 paragraphs. Right. There is a significant computer printer market in Eland dominated by OEMs. I would take it in a positive sense, although that there's a significant computer printer market. And why it is good for me? Because I sell printer cartridge. So the more the market for printers, the more the demand for cartridges. However, there's a small catch that the large equipment manufacturers, the big boys, but still the market is there. That's an opportunity, agreed? What about the next paragraph? The emergence of independent printer consumable suppliers like us, like Re-Ink, has not been welcomed by the OEMs. They have brought legal actions against the independents in an attempt to make refilling their brand. It's a threat. Although the government is supporting us, they lost the legal battle, but still they are using some other techniques to push back this smaller independent suppliers. It's a threat. It's not good. I need to protect or save myself from these big boys. Yeah, agreed. And then it says it is relatively easy to enter the independent printer consumable market, so companies tend to compete on price. Now I'm confused here. Is this good or is this bad? It is relatively easy to enter the printer consumable markets, and so companies tend to compete on price. That's good or bad? Yes, it's bad. Someone is saying no entry barriers. People are saying it's threat. Very good. It's good or bad from my point of view. You understand? Whenever, listen very carefully. Whenever we do a SWOT analysis, we do it from my perspective, whether that factor or situation is good for me or not good for me. So if it's relatively easy to enter the market, it may be good for the newcomers, but definitely it's not good for me, because then it will increase more competition, and there is competition based on price. So price competition is a bad thing. Companies that are not able to make profits because your profit margins are squeezed when you go for price based competition. Very nice, I'm impressed. And there is little brand loyalty amongst consumers. What is this? Threat, strength, weakness, or opportunity? There is little brand loyalty. Yes, absolutely. That's a bad thing. Customers are not loyal. They don't give a shit about brand. So that's not good, eh? Okay, so now, so far we've identified opportunities and threat. Can we, should we make a quick list? So those of you who are giving manual paper, you will do exactly like this. You will highlight. Highlighters are allowed in the exam hall, so you should carry highlighters, at least 2 highlighters. You should highlight, and then you should write O and T and S and W just the way I wrote it on your question paper. And CBE students, what you will do, you will not be able to write, right? So you remember yesterday's technique, you will just copy paste it. So let me, so the opportunity, let me opportunity, threat. Okay, so first, the first opportunity, economic performance is threat. So let me copy the opportunity first. So do you see this? I just copy pasted. So yesterday I told you guys, copy pasting will not get you any marks unless unless you add a couple of comments from your own simple mind. So what about this one? The people of Eland are enthusiastic about the principles of reuse and recycling. There has been a notable rise in the number of green consumers. That's good, right? Why is it good? How it may benefit us as a company? Can anybody tell me why do we say it's an opportunity? How it is good for us? Growing market, okay. Increased demand, higher disposable income, okay. Market share, no. Market share, no. Increased sales, better reputation. So it's good. So it's basically, I think, is very simple. If people are more enthusiastic and there's a notable rise in green consumers, can I say there's an increase in demand? There's growth. This means that there will be Khalas. Now you will get full marks. What I did? I just added this one stupid sentence explaining to the idiot board of directors what this means. This means that there will be increasing demand and industry will grow in future. What about the other one? The government is also encouraging its departments and the economy as a whole to recycle and reuse products. Halas, what did I did? I just added a layman explanation of why I think it's good, why I have put this under opportunity. That's the reason that if the government is also encouraging its departments, it means that government agencies will now be using recycled products more and more, and that would add or contribute towards the overall demand or the industry or the market size of this industry. What about this? The economic performance of the country has declined for the last 7 years, and there are large areas of unemployment and poverty. Now I am confused. This point, although it sounds bad that the economy is down, it's good for my business or bad for my business? What do I sell? I sell second-hand, reused, recycled products which are supposed to be much cheaper than the original branded products. Is this good news for me or bad news for me? It's good, right? Oh, forget about employment. Is this good for me or bad for me? I don't care about employment. I'm talking about my business. That if the economy is not performing and I'm selling cheaper products, obviously, when the economy is not performing and disposable income are going down, there are unemployment and poverty, people will try to reduce their expenses, right? And instead of buying branded cartridges, they might settle down for cheaper cartridges like the ones we sell. In times of recession, the brands they suffer and cheaper products they flourish. In times of economic growth, the cheaper products they go down and brands they start flourishing. So I think for my business, I would like to move this paragraph under opportunity, and I would say the economic performance of the country has declined for the last 7 years. This may become favorable for us as people might wish to purchase cheaper products as compared to branded. That's it. Simple logic. Simple logic to explain to the oldies sitting in the board why you think it's favorable. Because they are kids. They will say, Papa, why this is an opportunity? And you will say, baby, because exactly that's the mindset you need. Simple. The moment you start complicating SBL, you will be screwed, because most of you do not have corporate exposure. So please keep it baseline and simple. Trust me, you will get marks. This is exactly what the examiner wants to see, that whether you understand the business dynamics or you are a dumb accountant. You see? Good. Any questions? Let me take questions before I move on. Brand loyalty could be an opportunity. Yes, it may be an opportunity. So Priya is saying our product is not a need. Yes, for sure. But somewhere it says that a lot of people have printers and there's a growing demand. It's an industrial country with a huge computer and printer market. So even if it's a need, if there are printers, there will be, where there are shoes, there will be socks, right? Yes, Mohammed Amir, you are right. It may be also a threat. And even if the people are not able to buy this, then it's a threat. But from the feel of it, I don't think so. So listen, there is no one right answer. Even if you put this point under threat, it's okay as long as your argument is logical. Your argument is correct. Your argument is saying why it's under threat is logical. You will get marks. Okay, so how is this bad? Okay, talk about this one. Why is this a threat? Can anybody tell me why this point is a threat? We put it under threat and the board is asking, Papa, why is this a threat? Explain to the boy. Simple, right? That's it. You understand? Simple one-liner. And also you see, I did not write anything on this one. It's okay. I wrote comments on this one. 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 No, I did not write anything on this one. It's okay. I then wrote comments here. I did not write anything here. It's okay. You don't have to be perfect. It's all about time management and move on. So just strong logics in a few of the points and you are done. Now let's move on. Now I will highlight because we are struggling with time. I will highlight and you tell me what it is, good or bad. Patents. Is this good for me or bad for me? I have patented my processes and I have still 6 more years to go. It's good. Now tell me, is it strength or is it an opportunity? It's a strength, right? I have patented or we have patented. We were smart. It was a good decision. Now, another one. Now, this one talks about the location of the company. So this guy, what's his name? Dexter Black. He's the owner and the founder. So this guy did not open his factory in the city. He decided to open his business in a remote countryside. Why? Because initially there were some grants, there were rent-free periods, and now there's a rent is there, but it's relatively lower than the downtown. It is close to it's an attractive location, is able to attract good people at lower cost. So all this is good or bad? These are all strengths. Now some people think it might be an opportunity because it is to do with location, and location is an external factor. But the point here is, you may be right, it depends how you put your logic, but the main point here is who decided the location. It was Dexter, it was us who decided the location deliberately, and that decision went really well, and now it's our strength that our costs are less, we are able to attract good resources at half the prices, our rents are lower. Very good. That's the argument. Now let's move on. It's an attractive company to work for. So now Dexter, this is about Dexter. They are saying that Dexter is an acknowledged industry expert where technical innovation is recognized and rewarded. Both his staff and competitors acknowledge Dexter's technical expertise, but his commercial expertise is less well regarded. So I would say it's strength that he is a technical expertise, but there is a weakness as well that his commercial expertise are not good. What do you think? Re-ink has needed significant, I hate these words, huh? This is a bad word. Stress word. These are called stress words like significant, extremely, notably, very, exceptionally. These are stress words. So he's saying that re-ink has needed significant bank loans and substantial, another stress word, substantial overdraft. Oh, can you imagine the gearing level? It must be pretty high. Substantial bank loan draft and significant, these are bad words for a loan. It's recording a loss every year, so its financial position is really bad. I'm skipping some, some stuff because of time. Mm, what do you think? What is this? Re-ink is still not recognized by the majority of the consumers who were surveyed in a recent brand awareness. No significant marketing is undertaken. Good or bad? Weakness? Demoted employees? One last thing. Can anybody tell me what is this? We ventures are venture capitalists, and what does a venture capitalist do? Who injects money and expertise, management expertise, into struggling companies in exchange for a certain degree of control, ownership, and dividend. Struggling company. So, are we a struggling company? Yes, we are financially struggling, right? So these guys, they inject money and they bring commercial expertise into struggling companies in exchange of some shareholding ownership. Is this, what is this? I think it's an opportunity because it's a good thing, and it is internal or external. These are external firms, right? So now let me write certain strengths. So then we will so I'll just copy some. In fact, because I'm running short of time. So what are the, one is patent. Okay, the other one is okay, agreed. Cheap rent and lower salaries due to countryside location. Acknowledge technical expertise. Any other strength? No. Weakness. What are the weaknesses here? Weak commercial. What other weakness is there? Weak financial position, weak marketing. What else? And there's opportunity like we venture capitalist. So now you made a list. So I did not listen, guys. You will not do like this in your paper. You will copy paste the sentence and you will add one stupid sentence from your own, making the oldies understand what this point is. Okay. So you've done a SWOT. So we've done a pretty good job for, what was the marks? 20 marks, huh? So good point. I think we covered like 4 points each, 4 to 5 points each. Okay, that's not bad. In fact, that's on the higher side. Now see, analyze, and in light of your analysis above, recommend possible strategic options based on SWOT analysis. So now if you look at the SWOT, can you suggest some strategies? For example, look at strengths and look at opportunities. There is this opportunity here. The people of Eland are enthusiastic about principles of reuse. There has been a notable rise in green consumers. That's a big opportunity. Notable rise. Notable is a stress word. Rise in green consumers. And can I use any of my strength? Can I use this? You see, I can say that we have technical expertise on one hand, and there is a notable rise in green consumers. So we should continue to innovate our products and come up with green processes so that we are able to attract or capture the growing green consumer market. Simple. You guys understood how we make strategies, and this is a real life thing. In real life, in my boardroom, we also do a SWOT, and then we do brainstorming. We look at the list of strengths, we look at the list of weakness, ops and threats, and then we decide 2 or 3 or 4 core strategies or focus areas for the next 1 to 3 years. Do you understand the approach? Yes, I can see some good comments. Very nice, very nice. Okay, patents. Can I use patents? How? Patents gives me protection against competition. Remember that patents, protects me from competition because no other person can manufacture the same products. Is competition somewhere in the threat? This one. You think we can use? It is relatively easy to enter the independent consumer market. That means there is no barriers. Everybody can enter. So how do I protect myself? Everybody will come and copy my product, my technology. I'm the technological expert, right? So we can say that we can enhance our patents. We can take more patents for all our products or new products to make sure that the new entrants or competitors are not able to produce the same thing. Isn't that a good strategy? I'm using my strength to protect against threat. Okay, one more about weakness. Is there anything I can try and remove here? What about my weak financial position? That's a big thing. Somewhere it said that we don't have money to pay salaries for next month and we might go into administration. So what do? There's an opportunity. There are some venture capitalists out there who likes to inject money and commercial expertise into struggling companies. So weakness and opportunity. Can you suggest a recommendation that we should immediately try and tie up with a venture capitalist so that the financial crisis can be addressed, and that person will bring some commercial expertise, which is again our weakness, and the company can be turned around in few years time. Anything on marketing? Weak marketing, yeah, and there's an opportunity. So we should say that we should invest more in marketing and try to create some brand loyalty by being different so that we are able to capture a higher market share. Anything which comes to your mind, which is logical, and it tries to link your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats together, and you come up with 3 or 4 strategies, you are done. Now, can anybody tell me where is the accountant in this whole thing? There's no accounting required. No IFRS, no debit, no credit, no deferred taxation, no complicated business philosophies, just basic common sense. And if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you have basic common sense, right? Otherwise, you won't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Any questions? Mahagan, you can take one, you can take many. Up to you. Just keep it simple, okay? Break. Let me check the break. What time am I supposed to give you a break? Just let me check. Day 2, the break is no, the break is after 10-15 minutes, okay? We have 10 more minutes before the break is due. Right, let's move on. So now we are ending the topic of SWOT and TOES. Very clear, very easy. Excellent. Back to our presentation. Now, I just need 10-15 minutes more and then I'll give you a break. Easy topic, easy topic. Financial ratios. Everybody of you knows how to calculate ratios, right? In SBL, there will be no question saying please calculate ratios. No. The question will say analyze the financial performance, or there is a balance sheet or a P&L given. So whenever a balance sheet or a P&L is given, or whenever some numbers are given, it may be non-financial numbers, it is expected by default that you will analyze and comment on the numbers because you are the number man. So whenever you see any table, any numbers, any balance sheet, P&L, KPIs, non-financial numbers, you have to comment, whether specifically mentioned in the requirement or not mentioned. You have to find an appropriate place to do some comments on the numbers. Otherwise, you will lose a lot of professional marks. You are not a finance professional if you don't cover numbers, if it is given to you in the exhibits. So when you are given a balance sheet and a P&L, I know that you guys are expert in financial ratios. All the other teachers have programmed your mind to become accountants. But for SBL, stick to basics. For P&L, I just want you to look at 4 ratios. Okay, I don't want fancy stories. Your first paragraph will talk about the sales trend, whether the sales are increasing, reducing, or they are constant. Very, very important. A good CFO will always start from sales because sales is the bloodline of the company. If sales is going up, everything will look nice. If sales is going down, everyone will look bad. The first thing is the board would like to know how the top line means revenue or sales, how the top line is performing before they talk about current assets and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then after sales, you need to talk about gross profit margin percentage. Gross profit margin percentage. Look very carefully. Please, I'm increasing the size as much as I can just to show you that I am talking about gross profit margin percentage and net profit margin percentage. Idiots, percentage. Margins are always in percentage. Okay, so we will calculate the gross profit margin of the first year and the last year, and we will see whether it's maintained, it's improving, or it is deteriorating. And lastly, you will talk about ROS. ROS involves long-term loans, right? Debenture. So if the gearing is high, I would expect the ROS will go down. On the balance sheet, just talk about current ratios. It has to be more than 1. Talk about gearing, which is in percentage. And if you have time to calculate interest cover, otherwise don't even bother because we struggle with time in SBL. But most importantly, always try to include something called efficiency ratio. It's a non-financial thing. For example, revenue per employee. This will create a very good impression to the examiner that you are not an accountant. You understand non-financial KPIs. You are a business leader. So always try to talk about one non-financial KPI if the information is there. Like if you know the number of employees, just divide revenue by employees. Okay. The main thing is this one, no need to show calculations. Please, as I said yesterday, think that you are CFOs and your report is going to the board of directors. No director is interested in checking your calculations. How did you calculate this gearing? Can you show me this, divide by this, multiply by 100? No. So just there's no need to show any calculations in SBL. I'm not talking about any other subject. But for SBL, no need to show any calculations. Just pick up your calculator, calculate it, and just write the end product or the outcome in your answer. And second important thing is, I cannot stress more, giving reasons is a must. So just calculating the variance is garbage. If the sales is going down by 20%, what question the board will ask? What's the next question? Why is the sales going down? So that why is the reason in which the board is more interested, the why. So giving reason is a must. So if you calculate and you don't give any reasons, you will get 0. There is no marks for calculations. The CFO is not supposed to calculate. His knowledge is about the reason, where he can explain and make the board understand why this is happening. The why is important, the reason. Okay, 5 more minutes. So sometimes you might also get a question on the budgets or MIS, where in which you might be given a budget and actuals. So the previous one, this question in financial ratios, you will be given a balance sheet and a P&L. So you will calculate these ratios. Another possible scenario is you are not given a balance sheet or a P&L, you are given a budget, like a budget and an actual and some variances. It's called MIS, Management Information System, or some Management Information Report. So me as a CFO, I spent a lot of time, 70% of my time is spent on budgets and performance analysis. So I always, every month, I compare what was the budget for the month, what was the target for the month, and how did we perform. Did we overperform? Did we underachieve? The reasons. The board is interested in the monthly performance of the sales team, the overall company. So budget MIS, very, very, very important. So whenever you get any questions in your exam in which you are given budget and actuals, you have to look at 3 things. This is a mental checklist for you. 3 things. Number 1, you first will make sure that the budget is flexed. I'm sure most of you would be aware of this concept of flexed budget. There's an actual budget, but sometimes the number of units sold or the volume, the actual volumes is not as per the budget. So you need to recalculate the budget to bring it in line with actual volumes or actual units sold, so that you can do an apple to apple comparison. For example, the budget is based on 100 cars and you sold 70 cars, you will not be able to compare the revenues and the cost and the profits. It's not apple to apple, because the budget was based on 100 cars and actually you sold 70 cars. So then you will flex this budget, you will calculate the budget based on 70 cars, and then you will compare with actuals, apple to apple, boy to boy, mango to mango, whatever you want to call, and then you will see, okay, what's happening. So the first concept is, as a CFO, whenever I receive a budget, I first make sure that the budget is flexed. If it is not flexed, I will throw it back onto the face of my subordinate. Okay. Number 2, I would like to compare the actuals with 2 things. There are actuals and there's a budget. So I always like to compare the actuals with 2 things. Number 1 is the flex budget, as we discussed in point number 1. And also I would like to cover actual versus last year actuals. So these are the 2 things, actuals. So this year actuals I would like to compare with this year budget or flex budget, and this year actuals I would also like to compare with last year's actuals to see whether I am making progress over last year or not, because the board will always ask that how are we performing as compared to last year. Yeah. And the third important thing you need to remember is reasons for variance. That any variance needs to be explained. Okay, very, very important that the reasons are there. If the reasons are not mentioned in that MIS or the budget report, throw it back on the face of the employee, because the board will throw it back on your face if the reasons are not there. You see in here a previous slide as well, I told you reasons. Here also reasons for variance is extremely important. So whenever, in summarizing, whenever you see questions on budgets, remember these 3 things. Whenever you see a question on balance sheet P&L, remember these few ratios. And yesterday I had said that whenever you see a financial projection Remember 5 things like discounted cash flow, payback, key assumptions, tax implications, and sensitivity. So remember these few checklists. So with this, I can now give you a break. So it's like 10 o'clock, almost 10 p.m. So I will give you a good break. I want to say my prayers and eat something. So 10:15 Pakistan time. I will start sharp at 10:15. Off you go, guys. Thank you, Wasim. All right, guys, are you able to see me, hear me clearly, and see the screen? Can I have a yes before we start? Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. All right. So now let's do a question on budgets in which the examiner has asked us to make a presentation slide. So we will kill two birds with one stone. We will understand the question on budget, and I will also show you how to make a presentation slide in your exam. So our question is basically SBL specimen paper number 3. It is called NABI. We will do question 4A. So I will go to your CBE practice platform. I already have opened this question. You remember from yesterday, it's the same format. There will be exhibits. I will exhibits, then they'll be followed by tasks. As you go down, there are 4 tasks here, and then response options is word processor. So I want to look at question task number 4. So I'll open the task. Okay, so task number 4, actually 4A. Okay, we will be doing 4A and B. In fact, the whole question. Prepare a presentation with an appropriate number of slides and accompanying notes to support your findings covering the following items. A. Identification of the weaknesses of the current management accounting information in supporting decision making for the restaurant business, 6 marks. And B. Recommendations for improvements to the management accounting data, which identifies key performance indicators which should be included in the monthly accounts to support decision making for the hotel business. Very good, 10 marks. And professional skills marks are available for demonstrating communication skills in clarifying relevant information to the board of NABI. So there are 2 new things: presentation slide and communication skill. Okay, so let me first, what is a presentation slide? This is how it will look. There will be a presentation. So you see, this is basically the presentation, and then it is followed by accompanying notes or speaker notes or supporting notes, whatever the examiner would like to call it. There is a slide, and then there will be some supporting notes or accompanying notes below the slide. Okay, so then my question is, what is the difference? What is the difference between the slide and the supporting notes? Why these are 2 different sections? Can anybody tell me what is the difference between the slide and the supporting notes? For further explanation, slides are points. Very good, Amir. Slides are point, and then further information are in the slide is summary, not summary, points. Okay, slides includes points. Very good, very nice. So slides will include points. You see my answer. It's just a dummy thing that does 3 bullets. Bullets, it's points, it's bullets. High turnover. Now, what is the meaning of high turnover? Why I'm saying high turnover? I need to link with the case. All this will be done here. The second bullet is low staff morale. What it means, how I link with the case, all that story will come here. And then salaries will be explained here. So the explanations, the linking with the case, your thoughts, your points, it will be in here. This will only include bullet points. You understand the format of a slide? A bullet section, which is the slide itself, and then speaker notes, where you will be talking or elaborating on your points which you mentioned above in the slide. Easy, huh? So manual, so for CBE students, it's very simple. If you look at the response options, there's a word processor, there's a spreadsheet, and there are slides. You see the option slides in the last? You click on slide and the system will open up the slide. It says slide 1. Do you see here slide number 1? And it's a box. If you scroll down, then you see slide 1 speaker notes. So the slide will include the bullets in this box. And if you scroll down, the slide 1 speaker notes will be in this box. And then there is slide number 2, followed by speaker notes for slide number 2. Okay. All you need to do is just type into the respective box. No need to do any formatting. It's just like a Word document. You just type. But for manual students, you will have to make you know, on a fresh page, you will half page, you will make a box like you see this box. You will make a box on the half page, and then on the second half of the page you will write your supporting notes. It should look like a box or a slide followed by notes. So for manual students, you might need a scale to make a box. It might take 30 seconds extra for you to make a box and stuff like that. But for CBE, it's all given. All you need to do is type into the respective templates. Which one is easy, CBE or manual? Yeah. So now the second thing is communication skill. That's 4 marks in this question. So communication skills means the way you are communicating. So theoretically speaking, you should keep the reader or the addressee in mind. For example, if the addressee is the finance director, then you can use technical financial terms. He will understand. But if the reader is the board or the chairman or the non-executive director or the CEO, they are not finance people. So then your language should be like a layman language. So you keep in mind the reader, but more importantly, to score good marks in communication skills, focus a lot on the format. So here the format required is presentation slides. So do a very nice, make sure that you do a complete proper format, and then followed by the tone of your answer. Always try to keep it simple language, layman language, nice presentation, neat and clean, and respectful tone of your drafting. You will by default get communication marks, which means that you don't have to do anything extra to gain in communication skills. Just focus on the format and keep your language very simple and professional. Easy, yeah? So now, so let's look at, we need to identify the weaknesses of the accounting system or the budgeting management information report, and then give recommendations. So if you look at the exhibit, I think this sixth one tells me about it's an Excel spreadsheet, very interesting. So it starts with statement of profit and loss account. You have been given sales da 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 and net profit, and if you scroll down, then you must be given a balance sheet, net current asset, inventory, total assets, equity, non-current, current. So that's the balance sheet. And then after the balance sheet, do you see management accounts? Let me reduce the view. 75. Oh, that's very small. Right. So what do? I to make you look at it. Oh, okay. So management accounts, this is given to you, and you need to find out the weaknesses in the management accounts. So can anybody tell me the marks? It was task number 4. Marks were 6 marks. Technical plus 4 marks. Professional. You remember, I told you how do we decide the number of points? We divide the total marks divide by 2. So total marks is technical marks plus professional marks, right? So this is the technical marks, this is the technical marks, and then there is a 4 professional marks on top of it. So I need to break this professional marks between part A and part B. So let's say 2 marks here. So this becomes 6 plus 2 is 8, and this becomes 10 plus 2 is 12. So for 8 marks, how many points are you supposed to give? 4 points, minimum 3, ideally 4. Okay, so let's try to look for 4 weaknesses in the management accounts. Your time starts now because I have shown you the checklist. Whenever you see budget versus actuals, what are the 3 things you should first look for? Flexed budget, comparison with budget as well as last year's actuals, and reasons for variances. First, you will look for these 3 things, and then you will look for any other apparent weakness. Your time starts now. I give you 1 minute for this. Whatever weaknesses you see, just type it on the question box. Very good, Amir. Very good, Safiullah. Gulkan, try. Good, Akshata. Alvin, Devinder, very nice. Mohsin, good point. No, Yatin, you're wrong. Weakness of the format. No, Hamza, you are on the long. The question says identify the weakness of the management information report. It is not asking you to analyze the performance. So please don't talk about the turnover, that it's constant, it's declining. You will get 0 because you are not reading or understanding the question. Very bad. No, Serena, I don't understand your point. No, Safiullah. Good, Dushyant, very good. Yes, Fatima, very good point. I will. Okay, so I think most of you are on track. Now let me go down a bit because there is some more information down. Now take a look and you might find 1 or 2 additional comments from here. Right. So, okay. So first of all, it is like a P&L, like a staff, sales turnover, food cost, labor cost, other cost, gross profit, admin cost, operating profit. And then there are non-financial measures like food cost per head, kitchen labor hours. This is good. Okay. Always a budget should include non-financial KPIs so that we can understand how the business is performing. Finance is not everything. It's actually the non-financial drivers which affects the numbers. So it's good. Now it says management accounts period 12, March 2020. Yeah. And then it says cumulative for the year. Good. So it is talking about monthly. What's the performance of the month, which is March. And then also it is telling me how the year to date performance is, which is also very good. Okay, very nice. Month and to date, cumulative, very nice. Now, in order to find the weakness, you can look at the monthly column or you can look at the cumulative columns. Both columns have the same headers, so it doesn't really matter. So it says budget. There's a budget and there's an actual and there is a variance. So what's weak? Is it flexed? No. It's budget and actual. Does it need to be flexed? Is the actual level of sales or volume of sales is different from the budget? Yeah. The budget is based on $10 million, whereas your actual sales was $9.6 million. So you sold less units. So your all the other costs like food cost, labor cost would be according to 9.6. So you need to flex the budget, otherwise it's not a apple to apple comparison. Two, comparison of actuals. So it is comparing this year actuals with what? It is comparing with the budgets. That's good. But as a CFO, I also want to see how this actual compares with last year's actual. or how this March compares with last year's March. Are we improving? Are we constant, or are we deteriorating? So actual, like last year comparisons is missing. Reasons for variance. So do I see any reasons for variance? I can see variance, but there is no reasons for variance. Let me go and check. No, nothing. So I will throw this back on the face of my accountant, and I will also fire him or her. I don't need accountants who are donkeys. Okay, how dare he gives me a report as handicapped as this report? It's not flexed. It doesn't tell me how I'm standing against last year, and most importantly, it doesn't give me the damn reasons. Get lost. Go look for another job, or go become a nurse or a pilot. You're not fit to be an accountant. You see, it's very serious. Basic things are missing. So if you remember this checklist, immediately you will come up with 3 weeklies. You will save time and you will be bang on. So please memorize these basic things. Now someone said at the cost, what is the breakup of admin expenses? Very good point. That you can say that, you know, admin expenses should be further broken down into the key components. It might give us a better insight into the admin expenses. There is also, you know, since you have not read the case, this management accounts is for 8 restaurants. So this company has how many restaurants? 8 restaurants. So this management account is the combined performance of the 8 restaurants. So as a CFO, while it's nice to look at the consolidated number, I'm curious. I want to also see the individual performance of each restaurant. I want to see which restaurant is making money and which restaurant is losing money. So if there is no individual analysis available, then only totals are available. I am blind. I don't know how each operating unit is performing. Make sense? Nothing technical. It's just common sense, basic things that if I have 8 restaurants, I would like to see the performance of each of them separately as well on top of the console position. Got it? Now, how do we draft it? We go down, we open the slide. Slide 1. First of all, we give a header to the slide. What is it? What are the 3 weaknesses? Can you tell me? I like to do a bullet. The number 1 is budget is not flexed. What's the, you see I'm leaving one line. What's the next issue? Third issue is or you can say easier. I would center this. Remember, I will bold this. I will increase the font size by using heading 1. That's too big. Heading 2. Yeah. I will also increase the font size of this one. I would go for heading 3, or that's too big. Heading 2, heading 4. Yeah. Why I'm wasting my time on nice looking format? Because there's a 4 marks for communication. So I've just given few bullets, no lengthy stories, just bullets. Now, where do I explain this bullet? What do you mean by budget is not flexed? Here I will say, okay guys, what did I write? Currently, the actuals are being compared directly with the budget. That is, the budgets are not flexed in order to reflect the actual levels of activities. Comparing of budget with actuals will give a misleading picture, as it is not a like-to-like comparison. Now, what is the rocket science in this? I just explained to my boy, the board of directors, the directors are asking, Papa, what's wrong if the budget is not flexed? And I just explained to them that it is not flexed, what it means. What about reason for variance? Can you draft something here for reason for variance? So what's wrong if the variances are not mentioned? Although the amounts of variances are given, the reasons are not mentioned. Without the reasons, the board will not know the cause behind the variances, and hence corrective actions cannot be discussed or cannot be taken. Very basic, right? Common sense. No chapter, no syllabus, nothing. This is how you in the slide you give the header, a nice header, some bullet points, and then you explain each point. There are 4 points. I'm not going to type all of them because of time constraint, but you understand how simple it is to do a presentation slide. And slide number 2 was about suggesting some recommendations and suggesting some KPIs for the hotel business. So this one was for the restaurant business. So we need to suggest some recommendations. So obviously you can recommend some actions based on this weakness. Plus it also asks you, if you read the requirement carefully, it asks you to suggest some KPIs for hotel business. So since we haven't read the exhibits, there are like 4 or 5 KPIs suitable for a hotel business. Those are mentioned in the exhibits. All you need to do is identify those hotel industry KPIs like average room per day, average room revenue per annum per room, average revenue per square foot, whatever is mentioned there, bring it here. That's it. Any questions, boys and girls, girls and boys? Are you comfortable now? Easy. In presentation slide, the question number needs to be mentioned. No, I don't think so, because the examiner will know which question, and your slide heading will also tell him. Yatin, yes, that's a small point. Talk about some bigger things. Gulkan, yes, exactly. Gulkan is saying these answers are not related to knowledge, related to general etiquette. That's why I can't understand. Yes, Gulkan. So you have studied a lot. So you know, just between you and me, everybody else and me, I've seen a lot of students who really study hard on the knowledge and on the syllabus and on the books and on the notes. I've seen them fail. Why? Because the paper is extremely different. The paper expects you to be a boardroom practical person, whereas the book and the syllabus is making you a very theoretical. So that's a very unfortunate disconnect between the syllabus and book. So all you need to know is the basic concepts so that you understand the terminologies and the issues. But your answers will have to be very common sense, general knowledge, to the point, in context of that scenario. No book will tell you anything in context with the scenario, right? It will just be a theoretical side. So please do not spend extra time on books and syllabus. Otherwise, you will struggle to be simple. Okay. Amir, how many marks? What kind of question is that? There was 8 marks, so 2 marks each. Alas. Yes, Doris. No, Misha, no books. I just explained, stay away from books because you will become a non-practical bookworm. Still, you want to read the book? Go ahead. It's okay. All right, perfect. Let's move on. Now I want to do a very interesting question. It is on financial analysis. So we will be doing 2 questions. One we did on budgets and MIS. And now I want you to do a question on financial analysis. This one. Very interesting question. It looked very easy, but a lot of students, they failed this part. So this question is called, it is basically SBL September December 2020, called BCO question number 1B. So this paper is September December 2020 sample question. It's available on the ACCA's website. Question number 1B. It's a briefing note. Prepare a briefing note for the CFO. Okay. Which analysis? Now I'm reading part B. It analyzes the financial and non-financial performance of the BCO in the latest financial year 2021, providing reasons for and implications of the result. Basically, analyze the financial and non-financial performance in simple words. And professional skills marks are available for demonstrating analysis skills in considering the relevant information and evidence relating to BCO's financial and non-financial performance. So total it is 13 plus 3, 16 marks divided by 2. I would like you to give 8 points, but as I said that if it's a financial question, try to give 9 or ideally 10 points so that we can score a bit more. 13 plus 3 is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8 points. Add 1 or 2 more points to score extra because it's a financial performance question. Got it? So what do we need to read? I would like to close. We read the introduction and exhibit 1 only. Okay. Introduction. So I will just highlight some key sentences so that you can follow that instead of reading everything. So do you understand what this company does? Just go through the yellow highlighted thing. It is a not-for-profit charitable organization set up to protect endangered wildlife around the world. Home country is G-Land. They basically they have a wildlife park where animals breed and increase in number. In G-Land, they have a wildlife park, and then they also operate 20 in the field animal protection programs around the world, and then they employ teams of locally based experts and volunteers to manage and protect some of the most endangered animals in the world. So you know why it exists. What's the purpose? To protect the endangered animals, and they have a wildlife park. They have some in-field animal protection program, and they employ experts and volunteers to help them with this task. It's a charitable thing. Next para. Donations, individual donations and corporate donations. So what are the main sources of revenue? One is donations from public and from corporate donors, CSR or something like that. Other than that, BCO also generates income from legacies. What the hell is legacy? Legacies, which are donations left when people die. So when people die and they have a mansion or an apartment, they will donate it to BCO. They can sell it off and they can, run the charity. There has been an economic recession for several years, but it didn't affect BCO that much because they implement a cost-cutting program and more targeted and active promotion like marketing. Simple, right? Think like a businessman. Think like you are a CFO in the board of this company. You should understand what your company does. Next para, the BCO has a board of trustees which oversees the management of the charity, which is undertaken on a day-to-day basis by the management board. So there's a board of trustees and there is a management board. So there are two boards. So it's a two-tier concept. So the board of trustees are the senior guys who oversee, they make the strategies, all those bigger things. And the day-to-day running is the job of the management board. What is this? You work as a senior finance manager of BCO. That's your role. So throughout this, wherever there's a report, a briefing paper, a memo where your role is required as from, you will mention senior finance manager. Are you internal person or external person? If you are an employee, so if you're writing to an internal person, you can use the word we. You got the background? Now, what else are we supposed to read? So exhibits, there's an annual report. Okay, that would be interesting. So now we'll go to exhibit 1. So this is an extract of the BCO's annual report highlighting the mission, vision, aim, objective, and main activities in the latest financial year ending. So what was the question? The question was analyze the financial and non-financial performance for the financial year ending 30th April 2021. So our mission doesn't matter, our vision, our aim, our objectives. Okay, interesting. So they have 3 clear strategic targets for the next 5 years. They want to achieve these targets in the next 5 years. What is that? Ensure that 100 threatened species are protected and returned to their natural habitat in the next 5 years. So in the next 5 years, they want to return 100 threatened species back into the natural habitat. Invest in 100 wildlife habitat projects across the world through providing training and education to volunteers and communities. Right now, how many projects they are running, I don't know, but I think they are running 20. I remember something. They have, yeah, so they have 20 animal protection programs and they want it to increase to 100 projects across the world in the next 5 years, and ensure 1 million people are better connected with nature through education and awareness. So these are the 3 broad themes or broad strategic targets they want to work towards. Review of 2021. So where are the financials? I don't know. Our financial position continues to be challenging. Why do you think their financial position continues to be challenging? Can anybody guess? Let's see. We read the background, right? We have some information with us. Why do you think the financial position? Recession, less donation. Why less donation? Because of recession. It's a charity. It is relying on donation. Very instability. Come on, Nicole. Where the hell you got that word from in the exhibit? Please don't be creative. You need to stick with the exact sentences and words from the exhibit. Okay, crazy. Operating world-class wildlife parks and global animal protection program is costly. Hence, our need for a range of income streams. Yeah, so they operate two things. They operate a world-class wild park and they operate global animal protection programs, right? So they need a lot of money. This year, we reluctantly raised the price of admission to the wildlife park for the first time in 5 years. Why? Why did they increase? So they increased the prices of entry fees to the wildlife park because they want to use this increased revenue to invest in better long-term facilities and experience for our visitors. Okay. So income from legacies was down. Interesting. So this one is fees. It talks about entry fees. This one talks about legacies. This one talks about corporate donation. What else? Okay, done. This is about IT. Okay. Right. So where is the financials? So here is the financials. Whoa, so you need to analyze. Oh, can anybody remind me how many points are we supposed to cover in this question? How many points are we supposed to write? Please remind me. 9 to 10? Okay. 9 to 10. So what's happening with income? Income, there's a wild park admission fees. It has gone up. Whoa. Do we know why this has gone up? It has gone up. Do we know why this has gone up? This paragraph, ladies and gentlemen, it says this year we relentlessly raised the price for the first time in 5 years. And why did we raise? This paragraph we can cover. Very good. So yes, we got a point here. We can talk about one. What about membership fees? Membership fees, individuals and corporate. Membership fees. What the hell is membership fees? Did we read anything about membership fees anywhere? Let me search. Control F. MEM, BER, SH. Nope, there is no mention of membership fees. So I will not talk about it. Education programs. Income from education programs have gone down. So this has gone up. This has gone down. Education programs. I don't know why this has gone down. Does anybody know? Are we reducing our program? I don't know. Let's. Wildlife park, shop and cafe. Whoa, look at the increase here. Oh my God, that's a big increase from 4.9 to 5.6 million dollars. Whoa. Donations, grants and legacies. Oops, it's a big drop. It's a big drop. Look at this. You see how a CFO looks? First of all, I would like to inform the board that our income is kind of constant. It was 20.7 versus 20.7. So slight or marginal increase. So we were not able to, although there are significant changes or shifts between our various revenue streams. But as a bottom line, our incomes are flat, which means that we have to make sure that our costs are flat. Otherwise, we will end up. Oh, if I take this one out, sale of property, this is a one-off thing. If I remove this, what will happen to my income? What will happen to my income if I remove or ignore this? It will drop. Yes. So it doesn't. So overall, the income doesn't look good to me. It's right now flat because it includes a one-off sale of something. If we ignore that, then our incomes are down. And do we know a high-level reason why our incomes are down? Because of the continuous economic downturn in the country. Interesting point, Mr. Hassan. Good boy. Expenditure. What's happening on expenditure? Oh my God. Oh my God. You see, this is what I was worried about, that my income is flat and my expenses are going up, which means my surplus will start shrinking. Is it shrinking? Yeah, the net income has gone down, I think 60%. So what's happening with the expenses? Why it's gone up? Oops, animal support, the wildlife park is, the expenses have gone up. My in-field operations expenses have gone up. Staff training is almost same. This has reduced. Very good. Cost of operating wild park, shop and cafe. And cost of other commercial income. I don't know what that is. What's this? Number of paid staff. Okay, it has gone down. So my salary should go down. I don't know. I can't see it. It's somewhere here. But these are going up. Number of volunteers have gone up. That's a good sign. So that's good. So my employees are going down. So my cost is supposed to go down. And I am adding more volunteers. That's good. Key performance indicators. Wildlife park visitor numbers. Oi, it's gone down. The visitors numbers have gone down. Why do you think the visitors number have gone down? Why do you think the visitors numbers have gone down? I think because they raised the price by 5% and there is economic recession. The number of visitors have gone down, but I remember the fees has gone up. So because it's gone up, I think because of the 5% increase in the fees. But effectively, the number of visitors have gone down. Income per visitor from cafe and shop. That's good. Average training days per staff. Oh, this has gone down, which means we have reduced the level of trainings, maybe to save cost. Cost per staff training. So this has also gone down. Number of external education training programs, it's slightly down. Number of animals returned. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's our strategic objective, right? So now you see the PNL and you see the reasons. Let's go to the requirement. Analyze the financial and non-financial performance. And the format is briefing note and the professional list. Do you know how to make a briefing note? I'll just show you. It's very similar to a report. So briefing note, a briefing note or a briefing paper or a memo, these are all same. Sometimes if you see the word memo, you just follow, you change the word heading here, you write memo. If you see the word briefing paper, you change the heading briefing paper. Briefing note will be briefing note. Here you can say to, or you can say FAO. FAO means for attention of, from, your role, subject, date, and then there's an opening sentence, this briefing paper, and then you can copy paste from the requirement, just the way we did yesterday on the report. But in a briefing paper, you have to give lots of headings with small paras. That is why it's called a briefing paper. It has to be brief. It's not a report, it's a briefing paper. It will just give you bullets and short points with headings. The moment you write lengthy big paragraphs, you will lose your professional marks if it's a memo or a briefing paper. So briefing paper, what's the main characteristic of a briefing paper versus a report? Briefing paper has short points with a lot of headings. Okay. What is analysis skills? It's very simple. Analysis skills simply means reasons for variance. To analyze something means to take a deep dive and try to look for the root cause. Why this is happening? When I say analyze this problem, then it means that you need to understand what is the root cause, why the hell this is happening. So when you look for reasons for variances, okay, the moment you link facts from the case, from the exhibits. You are done. Nothing extra needs to be done for analysis skills. All the reasons for variances you need to copy paste from the exhibits, link your facts from the exhibits, and you will get analysis skills. Okay, so now let's do the format. So let me show you the format. What's required? Briefing note. I will give a heading briefing note. I will center bold, increase the font, underline, and then I will say to, from, subject, date. To, who has asked me for the briefing paper? CFO. From, what is my role? It was given in the introduction. Subject. Now listen very carefully, please. If you note, the briefing paper or briefing note is required for both part A and part B. You see the briefing note. Prepare a briefing note for the CFO, which A explains these things and B analyze. So there is one briefing note which will cover both part A and part B. Please do not prepare two separate briefing notes. It will be a waste of time. So we have to combine these two requirements. I will show you. So this requirement is oh God, it will be complicated to merge all this. Subject. Financial and non-financial performance. I picked it from here, and these are so small things, you know. I just say other matters. What is the date? 8 June 2021. This briefing note we are okay, done. Are you guys okay with the format? And now I will give, this is answer 1A. I will cover the answer other matters here, and then I will give a heading answer 1B, and from here I will start the financial and non-financial performance. Okay, so let's see, let's draft 1 or 2 points. So do we know, where's the numbers? So let's talk about income. Okay, that's my opening sentence. Let's talk about wild park admissions. Wild park admissions, it increased or decreased? Wild park admission income increased by, can anybody tell me how do we calculate the increase? 3103 divided by 3005, 3%. By 3% over last year. This, even though, you remember the number of visitors have reduced? Okay, guys, you see how I drafted it? This is exactly what the board wants to know, the reasons. So I said wild park admission income increased by 3% over last year. So they'll say why it increased. You'll say this is due to increase in the park fees by 5%, mainly to invest in better future. So then the fee should theoretically go up by 5%. But no, the income didn't went up by 5% because, however, it was due to the increase in the fees. The number of visitors reduced from 260,000 to 258,000. This is how you draft or analyze the performance of the company. I want to do a couple of more. Donations and legacies and grants. That's a big drop. How much is gone down? 7283. 7283 divided by 8625. 15%, 16%. Then you will say, oh, we need to give a lot of headings, right? It's a briefing paper. Now the next point is legacies have reduced significantly by 16% over last year. What's the reason? This is, I want to see the reason. This is in the overview, I think. Was it in the overview? Yeah, this one. And something else somewhere. Fees, legacies. Oh, so I'll just copy paste. Very good for CBE students. It's very easy. I just copy from here. Full stop. Done. One last one to show you how to. This one, the cost. So we talked about this one. We need to talk about cost. Animal support wild park cost has gone up. It's gone up by what? It's 10,0063 divided by 9220. It's gone up by 9%. So then we will say expenses. Okay, I'm just doing extracts. I'm not doing everything. Expenses. Wildlife park. Listen very carefully. The cost of maintaining wildlife park has increased by 9%. Why do you think it's increased? Why do you think the cost of wildlife park has gone up? Is there any KPI which we can link? Tell me. What about this one? I think the wildlife parks is really performing well, where they are taking care of the animals. So the costs have gone up, but then the level of activity has also gone up. This is due to positive performance relating to number of animals returning to the habitat, which has increased from 1595 to 1680. One more thing. So is this good or bad? Wildlife park is, I remember it was one of my key themes, one of my strategic objective for the next 5 years is to increase the number of animals being saved and returning. I would like to mention that don't worry, this is our core purpose. What do you think? So on the face of it, it looks pretty easy, yeah? Numbers, movements, but the examiner is not interested in just variances. He's interested in seeing whether you are able to identify and pick up the reasons. So do you think I picked up the reasons? Do you think, if you are the examiner, would you say that I was able to pick up the reasons to explain the variances? If you are able to identify the root cause, the reasons, then you will get full marks for analysis skills. Right. So do I have any questions? Do you understand the approach? Margani, that's an assumption, right? Should we read the exhibits before answering? Of course, you have to read all the exhibits first before answering, because the information is scattered in a lot of exhibits. It's not necessary that only one exhibit has the information. So we will discuss this tomorrow, that we have to first read the exhibits before we start answering. Can we use 3K rather than 3000? Yes, why not? I used, right? You saw me use it. So why do you need to ask again? So the thing is, although you might not have done, okay, you may have done a lot of financial performance analysis in other subjects, yeah, but in SBL it is supposed to be simple and linked with the case. No lengthy, fancy. Do not sound like an accountant. Please throw out the accountant. Gearing and interest cover, bullshit. As a CFO, as I said, I spend 70% of my time in these things. I am the eyes and ears of the board. I tell them how the numbers are looking and what's happening in the business. Okay, so this is, you need to adopt this lifestyle. Yes, Ahmed, then you have to guess. You have to adopt this lifestyle, mindset. When you go there, you think like a CFO and you talk more from the business point of view rather than an accountant point of view. Right. So with this, I would like to end tonight's session. And as yesterday I requested, please, if you can take out some time and do this question tomorrow as homework, and you would feel your confidence will go up. It's not as difficult as it seems. If you do it, this question tomorrow, you will become easy and relaxed. And I promise you, this is exactly what you need to do in the exam. I'm not doing any shortcuts, or I'm not, compromising on the quality. This is exactly what you can do in the 4 hours. I can do it much better, but I need more time. So remaining within the 4 hours, this is the best you can do. So keep it simple. Try to link with the exhibits. Your exhibits is your universe. Okay, so just copy paste, add your basic concepts to make the idiot board understand, and done. Right, guys, today I feel that you are more easy and a little bit more participating. Okay, so please, guys, again, I will see you guys tomorrow, same time. Until then, you guys take good care, be safe, and good night.